The moment Jason Carter touched the CEO's prototype, his fate was sealed. He was fired on the spot. Everyone in the room laughed at the cleaner's son, dismissing his dreams as nothing more than foolish hopes. But just hours later, the impossible happened. NASA themselves called, declaring Jason a genius. This is the story of how one impulsive act shattered every limit and transformed a life nobody believed in. Jason's world had always been defined by hard work and struggle. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, his mother Linda worked as a cleaner in a high-rise corporate building. She was exhausted every day but never gave up, teaching Jason that dedication and effort were the only ways out of their situation. Despite her words, Jason knew the reality was harsher. People judged him for where he came from, not who he was inside. The son of a cleaner was expected to stay small, invisible, and silent. But Jason was different. From a young age, he was drawn to the magic of machines. His room was a chaotic workshop filled with broken gadgets, scraps of metal, and books about inventions and science. Every night, he would spend hours tinkering, trying to create something new, something that could change everything. Yet, in Edam, a town with few chances and fewer believers, his passion was often met with mocking laughter or cold indifference. They saw the cleaner's son, not the inventor in the making. Then came the announcement that sparked a fire inside him. The local tech giant, Innovate Corp, launched a challenge for young inventors. The prize was a coveted internship and a chance to work on the company's most secret projects. For Jason, it was a rare shot at breaking free from the chains of expectation. With barely any resources, he pushed himself harder than ever. Borrowing tools from friends, watching endless tutorials online, and working late into the night, Jason built a prototype and energy-efficient motor unlike anything the
town had seen the day of the competition arrived.
Jason walked into Innovate's gleaming headquarters, clutching his fragile invention in a worn backpack. Around him stood polished contestants from wealthy families, confident and sharp. The contrast was clear, but Jason refused to let fear or doubt take over. When he presented his invention, the room buzzed with skepticism. The CEO, Richard Caldwell, a man known for his harsh demeanor, watched with cold eyes. Jason's ideas seemed too bold, too raw for a place like this. Then came the moment that changed everything. During a tour of the research lab, Jason's curiosity got the better of him. He reached out, touched the CEO's latest prototype, a device shrouded in secrecy and promise. Almost instantly, Caldwell's face twisted in fury. Jason was fired on the spot. Laughter echoed around him as whispers of "cleaner's kid" and overstepping filled the air. His dreams seemed crushed before they could even take flight, but fate had other plans. Hours after that humiliating dismissal, Jason's phone rang. On the other end was an unexpected voice from NASA. They had seen his work, recognized his talent, and wanted him. In a stunning twist, the very man who had dismissed Jason was now a footnote in the story of a young genius destined to change the future. Jason's journey from the shadows of doubt to the spotlight of innovation is a powerful reminder. Sometimes, the biggest breakthroughs come from the most unlikely places. No matter how many times you're told you don't belong, never stop believing in the impossible. Jason's life after that fateful call from NASA changed in ways he never imagined. From being the cleaner's son who was laughed at and dismissed, he suddenly found himself thrust into a world of endless possibilities. NASA wasn't just interested, they wanted to collaborate. They saw in Jason a rare spark, an untapped genius, whose ideas could push the boundaries of technology and space exploration. The very same people who had doubted him now sought his expertise, proving that sometimes, true, talent can only be recognized by those brave enough to look beyond the surface. Back home, the news spread quickly. The boy who had been fired for touching a secret prototype was now a celebrated innovator. Jason's story inspired many in his small town and beyond. People who had once mocked him now looked at him with admiration and respect. But for Jason, This was never about proving others wrong. It was about proving to himself that dreams, no matter how big or impossible they seem, are worth fighting for. At NASA, Jason worked alongside some of the brightest minds in science and engineering. His unique perspective and relentless curiosity brought fresh ideas to the table. Projects that had stalled for years suddenly moved forward with his input. He wasn't just an intern. He was a vital part of a team shaping the future of space travel. Every day was a new challenge, but Jason faced each one with the same determination that had fueled him from the very beginning. The CEO who had fired him, Richard Caldwell, watched from afar as Jason's star rose. The man who once dismissed Jason's talent had no choice but to acknowledge the genius he had underestimated. But for Jason, the past held no bitterness. Instead, it fueled his resolve to keep pushing boundaries and breaking barriers. His journey was a testament to the power of resilience, hard work, and believing in oneself, even when the world says otherwise. Jason's story reminds us that sometimes the biggest obstacles are the ones we place on ourselves or allow others to place on us. It's easy to give up when doors close or when voices mock your dreams. But the true test is to keep going, to trust in your vision, and to seize every opportunity, no matter how small. Because in those moments of courage, the impossible can become reality. Today, Jason continues to innovate, inspire, and prove that your background does not define your destiny. From a cleaner's son to a NASA genius, his life is a powerful example that sometimes a single moment, like reaching out and touching a forbidden prototype, can change everything. And that change can come with a price, but also with the promise of a future beyond imagination. Remember Jason Carter's story the next time someone tells you to stay in your place. Your dreams are worth more than their doubts. Keep fighting, keep believing, and one day you might just hear the call that changes your life forever.